Yo, 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 welcome back. We are working on the 2JZ today, or more like tonight. Joe came over to kick it. You know, always here for the support. So I actually started a little early. I got the first piston or first rings on already on all 6 of them. We're working on the second set of compression rings, and then we got our gapping tool. Whoa. Look at this. We got the washing machine out of control. Anyways,
fucking ghost is in here.
So we got our ring grinder, our feeler gauges. Sorry, that's feeler gauge. And we got our 2JZ right there, block. So how you install these rings, you kind of just, you know, you got to research on what the gapping is for every motor. But for ring number 2 on mine, that is my gap, 0.019. That's what I got this feeler gauge at, 0.019. So what we do, this is cylinder number 1. This is the top side. Just kind of get it on there like so. And then we use the piston to square it up. Just kind of drop it in place. And then,
Ooh, that's a tight gap.
We get the feeler gauge and we try to slide it through the little gap there. So it's a little tight. So it means we got to open her up. So how we do that, take this back off. So the second piston ring was a little too tight. So how we do that is I got this ring gapper, spreader, whatever, grinder.
Ring gap grinder.
So how you do it is you press it and squeeze it, make sure the surface is flat, and you go ahead and give this a couple spins. Hold on, let me get this all situated. Come on, baby. And you just kind of, you're pretty much just filing it down. So that's 1, 2, 3. So you just do a little bit at a time. What you gotta do after that, you gotta put it back on the block. And use the same piston. Make sure it's flat. Feel for that gap. So the gap is perfect.
Ooh. Dead on balls.
So you notice that the first time when we did this, it was resisting. So this time, look at that. It just slides right in there with ease. So that's ring number 1. And I'm going to take this out. And this is how we install it. So these rings, there's a laser etch on one of the sides that tells you which direction is the top, is up. So this side is up. Go ahead and put it on your piston ring spreader. Put it on number 2. Come on, babe.
Come on, focus. Focus. There we go.
And then you're on 2. So how these things are installed, the gaps, number 1 faces there, and then that ring 2 goes 180 degrees opposite from where the gap is on number 2 or number 1. So if the gap is there, number 2 gap should be 180 degrees, so it reverts back to this side. So gap, 180 back, and it's a gap. And then the next section is going to be the oil.
Oil rings.
Oil, yeah, the oil rings, which is somewhere in here. But before we do that, we're gonna do the rest of them. Get all 6 or 5 that's left, and then we'll do the next portion. Alright guys, so now I am going to... Oh, you out of here, Joe?
Yep.
Alright.
Bye YouTube.
He's leaving. He's tired. It's about 11:30. So we are going to do the bearings on the crankcaps. So this is an old one. Pretty much just take these things off. What I do, and pretty straightforward. I'm pretty sure you guys watch a bunch of YouTube videos on how to do this already. I pretty much just wipe it, you know, make sure it's pretty clean. And you see these little, I guess little notches. I don't know if you can see that. See these little notches right here. So that lines up to the notch on the crankcaps. So what I like to do is flush those out to the top of these, like so. Sorry, by the way, the washer is running. That's what that background noise is. And then, sorry, I'm trying to do this at the same time. Once that's on there and flush, I go ahead and just press this side down, and that's how you install these cap bearings. So that's number, well, they're in order. If you look at 2JZs, there's this, and there you go. See, there's numbers right on there, and then there's an arrow, so it points to the front of the block or number 1 cylinder. So you gotta do that to all of them. Alright guys, also to let you know, the number 1 crank cap is the larger diameter bearing. As you can tell, the width of this is greater than the other one, so that's on the number 1 cap. Requires the larger bearing. Okay, so now we're going to install the bearings onto the block. This is where the crankshaft sits. So this is number 1. Remember I was telling you number 1 uses the larger bearing, which is this guy. It's the same deal. Line up those notches and just press them in. There you go. You do that for the rest of them, all the way down the line. I'll show you that. Let me get this set up. Alright, so I'm about to drop the crank down. I use this Permatex Ultra Slick engine lube. assembly lube. I just bought this on Amazon for like $5. So what I do is put a little bit of assembly lube on each one of the bearings, so I don't go dry on there when I put the part on, so it doesn't go, you know, metal to metal friction. Just like that. You could smear it if you want. You can do that to all of them. Down here. So go ahead and put that on. Like so. So we put on these.
You put this knife?
No, this one.
Okay.
Oh, hold on, we gotta go together. Okay. That's it. This is number 1. Still, put some lubricant. There is a somewhat of an arrow. Make sure that points forward to the number 1 cylinder or to the nose of the engine. So a little bit of lubricant, like so. Put that on there. The bolts. Number 2. Forgot to mention that there's these shims that go on here. I think they're called thrust washers. So these openings, see how the little slits here? The other side don't have any. So you make sure that those I guess these lines are outboard, not facing inside. Actually 33, I looked it up. So I'm gonna go on sequence. Start at like 10, and I'll build it up to 20, and then end at 33. Alright, so now all the crank caps are installed. The only thing left is to install the pistons and connecting rods and hook them up to the crank. But it's getting a little late, so I figure I pick it up probably tomorrow or the next day. Alright guys, so I forgot to mention yesterday, after you torque these down to 33 foot-pounds, you gotta do a 90-degree turn. Add another 90 degrees. So from here, I gotta turn the breaker bar to 90 degrees. Scary, huh? And there you have it. That is complete cranked with bearings, and it's torqued and tying to OEM Toyota specs. So that's how you do it.